Next up on the show, another one of the hosts here on the In the Money Media Network, hoping he's going to have some fun additional Kentucky Derby coverage for us. But what he definitely has is great educational content every week. If you're one of the new players who found us through our YouTube channel and you're looking to get better, Spencer Luginbuhl's podcast, Redboard Rewind, is basically the audio version of one of the old handicapping books players like me grew up on. You're going to want to check that out for sure. He's here today not to talk about his show, really, but instead to talk about a horse called Catalytic. Spencer, I wanted to get the lowdown on this horse. Who is he and where did he come from?
So Catalytic's a horse coming out of Gulfstream Park, obviously ran against Fierceness in the last race in that Florida Derby. This is a horse that, you could say it's really done nothing wrong, has a win in the maiden, runs a solid second off a long layoff, then comes back and runs a big 90. And listen, it's hard to run from 6.5 going all the way up to a mile and an eighth. I just, for this one, coming into this race, Florida form has been pretty good, I feel like, if you look at through past derbies. So I think this one is definitely one of the chances to, make some noise come Derby time.
We'll get to your sort of verdict on Catalytic and the rest of this field a little bit later in the video. Certainly a horse that's going to be at the bigger end of the odds spectrum. What's your guess as to how they're going to bet this horse? Will he get, because of the how prime the Florida Derby's been, will he attract a little bit of attention? I mean, he was so far from Fierceness, it's hard to think that's going to give him like any kind of huge form boost. What sort of price are you expecting on Catalytic?
Obviously, definitely double digits. I mean, for me, any horse from once they're 10-1, I kind of just clump them together. 10-1 to me is kind of the same as 50-1. The public just doesn't like these type of horses. Listen, went off at 29-1 last time, ran second. I think that when you have horses that show decent form of hitting the board, when they have long shot odds, you have to circle those races and figure out, okay, why did he run so well? And can he reproduce that same type of race today?
Saffie Joseph, the trainer, prolific winner of races in South Florida. Do you think he might be ready to take his act out of town and succeed on a stage like Churchill Downs?
Saffie's one of those guys where I think streaky when it comes to him. See if he has a good Oaks day. I don't know how many runners he's going to have on the card that day, if he has any at all. But at least if he wins one or two, maybe give this one a little bit more of a bump up in form. Like Saffie had a couple of these guys ready and primed. Obviously, every trainer is trying to have every horse ready and primed for Derby and for the Oaks days. But when trainers are trying to win with a couple, then you can kind of give it a little bit more of a push towards that trainer side of the equation.
He was clearly the other horse. I mean, obviously, the Florida Derby kind of a one-horse race with Fierceness, but he was pretty clearly best of the rest, which I think is a little interesting, especially, as you said, going from 6 furlongs to 9. That's a significant increase in distance. How far do you think Catalytic ultimately wants to run?
When I see this type of horse, and obviously showed speed, just got blown away by a better horse, Catalina Cruiser, distorted humor on the bottom. I think this one isn't a pure mile and a quarter, but I think, as they always say, everyone going a mile and a quarter, it's only how fast they can go that proves the point.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm with you. I think feels like one that might be topping out more at that mile and an eighth and might ultimately be a little bit better going shorter. These mini pods are brought to you by Free Reign Coffee Company. They've been powering the In the Money team throughout the Triple Crown prep season, and the coffee is fantastic. Whether you're looking for whole beans, grounds, or pods, Free Reign give you what you need to get up and get after it. And they've got subscriptions available too, so you never run out. Use our promo code MONEY20 for a 20% discount site-wide over at freereigncoffee.com. $4 million. That's how much original ITM Plus subscribers and contributors have won at the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge over the last 5 years. ITM Plus is the place for our best Kentucky Derby information, including grid picks from the team, trip notes, and specific betting advice. Sign up today at inthemoneypodcast.com/plus. Let me ask you now, Spencer, really the key question with Catalytic regarding this year's Kentucky Derby. What's his ceiling?
For me, it's going to depend on if horses, either don't run to their, prior form or whatnot. I think that this horse can be anywhere in the top of the field. I definitely think that, when horses run 90s, and obviously I feel like 100 buyer is what we're looking for out of these preps and stuff. And obviously Fierceness ran a 110, which was huge. He's in there with 12 other horses. Now, can he get the same type of trip and maybe a couple back up? But I think when it comes down to, the exotics, am I going to have him second or first? Probably not. Is he third or fourth for supers? Absolutely can be a part of it. And at, 10, 20, 30 to 1, depending on which way they go with this horse, I mean, you have to include these type of horses, especially on Derby when you're playing these bigger tickets.
Yeah, I think 30 to 1 plus easy. I could, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that grade one form is going to depress it, but it feels like you will get that kind of price if you do want to include underneath. I need to ask you your general opinion of the race. Maybe the horse to start with is the favorite, Fierceness. Obviously, I think if you're building a Catalytic case, you would probably have to like Fierceness at least a little bit. Where do you stand with him and the rest of these at the top of the market?
We'll go back to my show I just had back on that day with Brian Natto. Brian kind of said, out of all the preps, Fierceness ran the best one, and it's good for Gulfstream to obviously have that type of race. I'm completely against this horse in the Derby. In and out form is something I follow very, very strongly. If you look at it, he had a couple wet track races, then he ran in the juvenile, blew him away with 105, came right back after that with an 84. Now he runs 110 again. Listen, this horse can run a 99 and still win the race, but I don't believe this horse is going to run 115 or 110 back again. I don't want to take horses in 20 horse fields with buyers that I think are going to go down. So I'm completely against Fierceness. My main of the top three, Sierra Leone is very, very good. I love Catching Freedom. This is another one. Obviously, been talking over at the fairgrounds with another one, Kevin Kilroy, who I love having on my show. And I had this horse in Louisiana Derby. I just think that I want the horses that are improving every single race. And now we have a guy, Brad Cox, who everyone knows, one of the better trainers in North America. This guy has been improving this horse every single race. Listen, a 97 to a 105 is not the biggest leap now, and we only need 5 points dropping from Fierceness. Yes, Catching Freedom is not the sexiest price of the bunch, but I mean, out of the top three, this is the one I think I want on top for sure.
You make a very compelling case. You make a really good point about looking for a horse that you think is going to run their best race. It's even a Fierceness liker like me. It's impossible for me to make the case that he's going to run faster than that. So, you sometimes, I talk about the condition arrow. The condition arrow on him is pointing sideways at best. I think he has enough in hand. We'll see what happens. But I definitely respect your opinion. I think you make a good case for your thoughts. And you mentioned both Brian and Kevin. They're elsewhere here in our Monster Pod videos, so folks should check around on YouTube. Look for those. Leave us your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Catalytic as a converter? I almost what do you think a contender was the word I was looking for. Who are some other long shots you want to put in underneath? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments, and make sure to check out Spencer's Red Board Rewind show for Derby and every week if you want to learn more about the game. Spencer, thank you so much.
You got it. See you soon.